Bill, you and I have a job, which is good. At least today we do.
Yes. So true.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. But I know my son's a junior, so he has finals this week. The seniors in his high school are already out and about, and they're going to school. Mm-hmm. Some of them going to go to college. Some of them are going to look for jobs. But how do you get a job? We're here to help. Actually, we're not, but we have Dr. Tracey Wilen on the line with us. Dr. Tracey, you're a career expert, and you are a visiting scholar, Stanford University media, former Silicon Valley executive. You have 11 books in your arsenal, and you're going to help some of the people listening get jobs, aren't you?
I'm going to try. I certainly would like to see people employed.
Yeah, so would people listening who can't find a job. So writing a resume is a very important part of, I don't think I have an up-to-date resume. Do you, Bill?
No. And if anyone needs them, it's you and me. We should have them ready at all time. But Dr. Wilen, the problem is if you're a kid, if you're finishing up school and going into the job market, your resume isn't going to have a whole lot on it, is it?
Well, it can, and actually I think students really need to think creatively about all their experiences in college, their internships, their summer jobs, the teams and the groups that they belong to, the volunteer work that they've done, and really package that into a powerful one-page resume that would catch a hiring manager's attention because they can make it look like it's a real experience and job, because it is.
You say one-page resume. Is it a no-no to go beyond that?
If you're a student, you really don't have enough experience to really go beyond the one page. And I even tell adults who are seasoned to keep it to 2 pages, because in reality, when recruiters and hiring managers are quickly looking for experience, skills, and education, they're going to look at the first page. And today we have software systems that also just really focus in on the first page. So you view it as a valuable piece of real estate. It is your press release about yourself. So pull out the salient experiences, skills, and that you have relative to the job that you're trying to apply for.
It's standard with somebody who's a little older when you're submitting a resume to also have a cover letter. That's your standard 2 sheets, 1 cover letter, 1 resume. Is it the same thing with a kid who's coming out of school?
Yeah, so here's the cover letter. I would keep it short, but what it means to the employer or the recruiter is that you actually read the job description, because you're going to customize that cover letter and make it powerful, shorten to the point of why you're the best candidate for the position you're applying for. I think people go generic, and that's a problem. So you want to really show the employer that you care enough to read the job description and give clear examples of why you're the perfect fit.
All right, and I'm thinking of summer jobs. I can only go with what my kid does. I have a teenager who works at a guitar shop, and he's learning how to run it. He's learning how to restring instruments. There are other kids that I know that caddy, other people who are a server at a restaurant or something. How do you turn that around to make it sound bigger and more important than it is?
Sure, and I think that all of those things are actually very good jobs. So your son is in the music industry and is working in customer service and also has hands-on experience with a lot of the instruments. Some of the other jobs you mentioned, for example, if someone worked at Walmart or the Gap, well, they're in the retail industry, so they understand that. If somebody was doing phone calls for one of the political campaigns, well, they're in telemarketing. If you're working at McDonald's or Starbucks, you're in the food and beverage industry. And more importantly, tell me what you did there that created new opportunities for the employer. Did you increase sales? Did you increase customer satisfaction? Did you decrease costs for the music store? Really try to package it and show that you really took initiative in that job. And no job is mundane, and every job you should figure out how to make that count.
So the key is really in the wording, right? You want to make the wording as impressive as you possibly can at every turn.
You want to make that wording translate so that someone who's in business can understand what you're doing. So I am in customer service in the retail industry, and I serviced over 200 customers, and I increased sales for our store along with team members, by 10%. I can understand that as a hiring manager. I don't care if you were working part-time at Walmart or the Gap. you created results. So results, metrics, percentages, and dollar signs really catch attention.
All right, and you're not really lying, but it does seem like you should kind of exaggerate like what you've done to make it sound bigger, or do you have to be really careful of that?
No, you have to be careful. It's the terminology that you use. If you just write down and say, I worked at Walmart, then it doesn't tell me anything except that you worked at a store. But if you really explain to me some of the activities that you did at Walmart, and maybe you even got a customer satisfaction rating that, of a 5.0 or something that really helps you stand out, I can understand that as a hiring manager that whatever you did there, you're going to bring into my company, and that's what I want. So I think it's more about terminology, not lying, but really translating, your activities into real jobs. And you can look for examples, by the way, on websites. And, by the way, there are many websites just for students today. Unlike the past, we had to go to the regular job boards, but today you can go to internships.com, Career Rookie, College Recruiter. Oh, my goodness, there's thousands of them. And every company has sections on their websites just dedicated to students who are in school, students who are graduating, and even students who have certain majors. And so I think it's important that students know exactly where to look so that they can understand, how to frame themselves for an employer.
Dr. Tracey Wilen on the line with us. You can go to her website, Tracey with an E, so Tracey, and then Wilen, WILEN.com.
There was a time, Tracey, where at the bottom of pretty much every resume it would say references available upon request. Now, I've heard other people in similar jobs to yours say those are the most wasted words on any resume because every job knows that if we really needed a reference, we could get one. Do you bother to put that or not?
Yeah, so Jeffrey, I agree with that. It's a valuable piece of real estate. You got Onepage. I know I'm going to find your references. I'm going to find out everything about you before I hire you because I can do background checks and drug tests and financial tests. And so I would not use that. And besides, you might want a different reference for a different job.
Yeah.
What about these websites, like I can't think of the name right now, but like
Job Builder or something?
Things like that. Is that a good way to apply for a job, or is the old school way still best where you reach out, you find out who's in charge of it, and reach out to them directly?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of, number one, networking is still how people get jobs. 65 to 75% of people get jobs that way. If you're a student, ask your parents, ask your neighbors, ask your friends and family, use all the paths to help you get a job. And number two is if you're out there and you see the name of a hiring manager, cold call them. Pick up the phone, call that manager, or send them an email. Why would you wait to send in a resume with hundreds of other people? Show some initiative that you really are the right person for that job, so much so you want to call them and get an appointment with them on the phone or in person.
What's the right amount of time to wait before sending some sort of a follow-up?
Okay, so the rule of thumb is usually, I would wait 10 days to 14 days and check in if you haven't heard. Unless you had like a phenomenal response, then I would do it in 7 days.
Yeah.
If after that you don't hear back, keep moving and keep looking for other jobs because there is a black hole there because you are competing with many people today for jobs. A recruiter or hiring manager is going through hundreds of resumes. And, if you didn't make the cut, as they say, they're always looking for a reason not to hire you. So that's why your resume has to be the one that stands out. And also remember, a resume doesn't get you the job. It gets you the interview.
Right.
So if you frame your mindset around how am I going to get this resume to rise to the top compared to 100 or 200 other resumes, focus on that. Even if you just send out one a day to a perfect job match for yourself, that's what you should be thinking about.
Dr. Tracey Wilen on the line with us. A quick question before we let you go. You said the resume doesn't get you the job, but it gets you the interview. Is it okay to use humor or be a little offbeat on your resume or cover letter?
I would not, and I'll tell you why. Because if I am a hiring manager or recruiter, and let's say I'm looking through LinkedIn and sorting through resumes, I might be using software to help me sort through. Looking for keywords, education, major, experience, skills. software does not have a sense of humor, right? This is a real serious activity I'm doing. I'm trying to get a good candidate for a job. Humor doesn't really play out well. If you get into an interview, and remember, my first job, it took me 100 interviews, 100 resume send-outs to actually get to an interview.
Oh, my God.
Right. And
so don't give up, kids.
Right. Well, when you get there, take that interview very, very seriously, because you're compared to a lot of people. That was really hard for you to get to that spot. Take that very seriously, and I would not joke around with your job or your career.
When do you start to discuss money?
After you get an offer, or if they ask you what your expectations are, and research it. There's no reason why you should not know what a job is worth. You can look on salary.com, glassdoor.com, look at the recruiting sites, look at the job boards, and you can get an idea of what jobs should be paying. But I'm telling you, if it's your first job, you just want to get the job.
Right,
and
sure.
I don't think you're going to have negotiating room there. If you're a more seasoned adult, do a lot of research and talk to recruiters also about what's the appropriate salary range and hiring bonuses and all of those extras that you should be thinking about, but do not go in unprepared.
I'll tell you, man, the internet has made life so much easier for trying to figure out a salary for this particular job. You can really find out a lot of information. And would you agree with this statement, Dr. Tracey Wilen? If you're in an interview and you kind of know right from the get-go, like, I don't like this manager, I don't think this company's for me, shouldn't you just follow the motions and go through it, because every interview makes you better for the next one?
A couple of things, yes. Every interview will make you better for the next one, and then you use that as a practice interview on questions, watching body language, and different things. But remember, if you're not a fit for that job, that manager might refer you to another manager who has a completely different job, and you might be a better fit for that. So I would go through the motions, and I would follow up appropriately. And if you got an offer and it wasn't a good fit, I would talk to them about it. You really like the company, but that particular job wasn't the right fit. Are there other places that, or other people that they could refer you to?
Tracey, would you hire Wendy and I based on what you've heard today?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Could you send me your resume?
Yes, done.
We
It's
don't
already
have
sent.
one.
It's already sent.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Tracey Wilen. Wilen is the last name, and you can go to TraceyWilen.com. All your books are there. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you for having me.